In March of 2014, College Board President David Coleman announced that in 2016 they will be making changes to the SAT. Some of these changes have sparked a lot of debate, and we are going to discuss some of the positive and negative effects of these changes. One of the first changes that they're going to be making to the SAT is that they are changing it from the 2400 scale back to what it was before, which is a 1600 scale. So what do y'all think that some of the positive and negatives are of those changes?
I think that changing it back to the 1600 scale will certainly make it seem easier, and that will certainly bring more people to the test. However, having it be a lower score also means that you don't have that feeling of achievement when you score a 1700, an 1800, or heck, even a 2400. And scoring a 1600, which right now is lower, 50 points lower than the national average, you don't have that same sense of achievement, and the SAT is really an achievement-based test.
Other important changes that they're also making to the SAT include that they are making the essay optional. So what do you guys think are some of the pros of them making the SAT optional?
Pros?
Some of the pros are just that, if people are not wanting to major in English or have nothing wanting to do with taking the essay, like focusing on math or something like that for like an engineering major or something like that, they don't have to take the essay portion.
Another pro is because for me, I'm dyslexic, I can spell things wrong and that will take off points. Like if I spell a word right, but it's not the right word I'm trying to say, it'll completely change my entire essay. So no essay is kind of good for that point.
Well, those are all very good points. However, just some cons. Just about any field you go into requires some kind of paperwork, whether it's writing a report, whatever. You need to have some kind of literacy for just about every field. And if you can't prove that you have that literacy in an essay, no matter what field you're going into, colleges are mostly going to look at it and go, we don't know if you can write cohesively, because mostly today people write in text speak and they don't spell correctly. And it's not even because of dyslexia sometimes, it's just that they don't care. Dyslexia is a good reason for not being able to spell, but most people just don't care anymore. And we need to give them a reason to care. We need to give them something that makes them spell right. And the SAT is changing their vocabulary. And they're knocking out a lot of the big words that the SAT was known for. And because of that, we're not really allowing students to expand their vocabulary. And we're kind of just giving them an excuse to not write correctly and not be able to understand big words. The literature sections in the SAT are going to have much less of an extensive vocabulary and more just analyzing popular words and analyzing different words that have multiple meanings instead of analyzing big words that the students might not have come across before.
So also off of that, changing of vocab and making the essay optional, they're also, another change is that they are, the SAT is not going to be counting off for incorrect answers starting in 2016. This is basically twinning the ACT because they currently don't count off for incorrect answers. I think some of the positives about that are that kids are willing to maybe not necessarily put toward more effort, but they aren't afraid to guess,
yeah.
Which I guess would be a pretty good thing to have, because you have kids that aren't afraid of something, because you have people that literally fear the SAT, and if they know that they aren't going to get points taken away from certain answers, they might be willing to lose that fear of the test. What else, guys? What else?
For the SAT currently, it wasn't that much points being taken off.
It's only a fourth of a
it's
point.
So you needed to miss like four questions just to get a whole point off. So, like you said, it's just turning into the ACT, and that's what they're trying to do to get more people into the door.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Which honestly will kind of bring us overall to some of these changes. Overall, most of these changes, when it comes to them making the essay optional, them changing it back to a 1600 scale, them dropping quote unquote difficult vocabulary. These are all things that are basically just getting people in the door. And at the end of the day, no matter what people say, that's honestly what they're trying to do, get people in the door. It doesn't matter what people say, how hard or easy people think it is. They just want more money. So I think we can all kind of sort of agree that with all of these changes, the biggest reason for it is so that College Board or the SAT period can make the most money and beat out the ACT again.
Yeah.
Would y'all say that that's basically
Yeah.
the overall?
Of course.
Agreed.
And what's bad is considering that is what they're thinking about and what they're heading towards. That means the ACT will do it soon, and next thing you know, it's going to be a downward spiral,
Exactly.
making it into like the easiest test. And soon, probably colleges won't even accept it. It will be that
And
worthless.
it's not even applying the knowledge at all. It's just, like Shakaya said, making it easier to the point where it's not going to be.
Worthy of a test anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's basically no test to prepare you for college.
And that's showing how the changes of the SAT in 2016 are going to have very positive and very negative effects. And potentially some of those effects could lead to generations and generations from now being affected by not even having a standardized test to get accepted to certain universities or colleges, period. Like for us wise, like, and then thinking about our kids too, you kind of have to consider, okay, well now, so say even if the SAT is quote unquote easier and it has less of a weight when it comes to college applications, yeah, it's a bad thing, but then also my biggest reason for wanting the change was that it'll force, like no matter what college it is, at least majority, most colleges are going to be looking at extracurricular activities, your overall grades, obviously your overall grades and GPA, but it's going to be more at what you're doing in high school to prepare yourself for college versus I proved my knowledge on this test, which granted that is a good key indicator because sometimes those tests are, kind of difficult and that'll prove, okay, well, this person did this well on this test, they're more than ready for college. But sometimes you have people that are really, really good test takers, they get to college and they're scared shitless because they have no idea what to do. And it's kind of like, for us, maybe it can help us prepare our kids better to instill in them that, hey, you can't just get good grades, you can't just test well, you also have to do things, be active in your community or your school, and be able to, I guess, survive that next 4 years of your life at least.
Yeah.